sponsor My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information, or follow the link in the description below. Today's Ramble is sponsored by Wellstoned Landscapes. From lawn to luxury, creating outdoor elegance. Wellstoned Landscapes covers most areas of Yorkshire. If you mention the Ramble, you'll receive 10% off any work. Call Paul or find him on Facebook in the details below.
Like and subscribe to Blaze Ramble.
Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is your countdown to kick off. The one thing about Sheffield United being so crap at the minute, we are so bad. We are so bad. The one thing about it is we can park the previous result and move on really quickly. The international break's done and dusted now. So yes, it's a draw against Swansea. Don't get me wrong. It's not the end of the world. It's the manner in which the result came about, which again is so demoralising. Manager came out in his post-match yesterday, was really strong about it in terms of it's not a tactical issue. I largely agree with him, but I think he then sort of puts himself on a pedestal to be shot at when he's saying stuff so strongly like that. And we'll see what my mate has to say about that as well. I'm done with a lot of this team now, I'll be honest. I think what we demand as fans, and we've said this time after time, is effort levels and giving everything you've got for the shirt. I don't see that in, I would probably say, a lot of this team now, which is really disappointing to say. It's not something I say lightly either. We expect as Sheffield United fans, and again I feel like a bit of a broken record saying this, but we don't expect the top the Illiman and Dyes of this world come through once every 10 years, if that. You know, Kyle Walker's. We didn't see the best of Kyle Walker, but that sort of talent. Harry Maguire's come through the academy. That doesn't happen very often. We are a team and a club that's always been built on hard work and being better. The sum of the parts are better than the individuals. And now I feel like we are one of the bigger sides in the division. It doesn't suit us as a club to have a better collection of individuals and be favourites going into games or seen as a big club at the level. Even though we are much better as underdogs. And at the moment, it seems like we've got a team that aren't giving everything for the shirt. Certainly, a number of the individuals aren't. There are some that are trying their absolute best, and maybe it's a quality issue. Even if it is, I can forgive those more than I can those that aren't throwing the body in front of the ball or aren't giving absolutely everything to stop that cross, to stop the shot, to pick up the ball in the middle of the park when they're walking through us like a knife through butter. It's really disappointing at the moment, and I think that'll be reflected in some of what we talk about today. Not that we've planned it, but I've got a feeling we're on similar lines because we usually are. Let's get him in. He's my mate. He's bald. He's brilliant. It's Ali.
Yeah, that's Bally.
Favourite intro vid ever. How's it going, pal?
Well, it's a sullen Saturday, isn't it? After that yesterday, it's all right. Here he comes. Here he comes again at bottom.
I have to get your nameplate on, or people might not know who you are.
Thank you very much. Yeah, just another day thinking. Well, it's not going to spoil my weekend. I'm going to enjoy it with my wife. We're going away and everything. But
nice.
How do we throw away that game yesterday? That's how I feel. I'm questioning what happened.
I struggled in 90 after 90 because I was still highly emotional about it, and I'm still annoyed. But I struggled to find the words to put it together. But initially, when I was thinking about it, it absolutely summed up our season, where they gave you a glimmer of hope. You know, it were a battling performance, and you saw bits of positivity in it, and you saw little bits of frailties, and that were really the first half summed up. There were a huge error that led to their penalty, and it were a calamity of errors, to be honest, a comedy of errors. But that sort of encapsulated our season a little bit. And then we go in front, and we score another goal by going on and being, ambitious with our subs as well. I'd have to say, with Tom Cannon coming up, no one complains about the subs if we run out winners, and I'll come back to that because I think there is reason to criticise some of the substitutions, but nobody criticises it if we win 3-1 and Tom Cannon's come on as the second striker and scores straight away pretty much with a lovely goal. Yeah. So you see what some of these players can do, and don't get me wrong, it weren't free flowing yesterday or anything like that, but we've seen us play really, really well this season. And then the absolute footnote of our season, where we've just not been good enough throughout the 90 minutes for the vast majority of games. On 65, 70 minutes, we just go into ourselves. And as soon as we look like conceding, it's like we're opening the floodgates and there's only one outcome. So I was telling, I think it was Big T, I was telling when he called in on 90 after 90 last night. I'm sat next to my dad. Obviously, we've moved to Bramall Lane Upper because we try and move there when we can because it's a great view. And it went to 3-1, and I went, right, looks like we're having an after party. Started doing my thumbnail. Did my thumbnail for after party, got alt stream set up, and they scored 3-2. He went, we're not having an after party, pal. Because you know that we're going to lose, or not going to win the game, should I say. Thankfully, we didn't lose, but we could have done. We could have had it gone another 10 minutes. Who knows which way they've gone?
Don't you think that every team in this league knows that as well?
Yeah,
that they're always in a game against us now.
Weak mentality, and it's embarrassing. It's so far from what our identity's always been. Yeah. Yes, in Premier League we've been outclassed, and we've had 2 really poor seasons in the Premier League in recent times, but at Championship level we've always been very competitive and hard to break down, hard to play against. Even if we were playing at 80% of our potential, at least we're a tough team to beat. Yeah. Certainly at Bramall Lane, and at the minute it is just so far. And I'm done with a lot of them, to be honest. And I'm not saying that it's beyond repair, because I don't want to. The thing is, we don't want to go too hard on some individuals because they might be our players next season, and we always want to support our players. But by the same token, I think we'll always be honest, and I'll tell you, Tanganga, if we can get 3/4 of our money back for Japhet Tanganga, I am taking it tomorrow. And I know you'll think similar in that regard.
I mean, I raised it on Countdown to Kickoff before that game that I'm willing to take a loss on him and move on because his form has dropped off a cliff. He doesn't look like a captain. There's no leadership from him. Also, who is owning this? Who is owning it? When there's a mistake, who's putting their hand up and saying it's me? Nobody's owning it. They're all looking at each other.
No responsibility taken, is there? I saw him. I mentioned it again on 90 after 90 last night. I was watching him because he's wearing the armband and he's trying to act like a leader and he's pointing to people and saying, "You go there, you go there." And it's a little bit. It felt a bit amateurish. I don't know whether that's because I'm looking for holes now and I'm conscious of that. But like it wasn't tactical what he was saying. He was like, I can't put my finger on it. But ultimately, the reason I'm raising it is, nobody listened to him. Nobody did what he was saying. Yeah. Nobody went to the space that he was telling him to go to. He told Tyler Bindon to stay in front of him at one stage. You stay in that spot. Tyler Bindon saw a free man and went and marked the spare man. So there's no authority in the side. Yeah. There's no respect for the armband by looking in, outside looking in. I'm not saying they don't respect Jaff as a player or a person. I'm sure they do. Because he's a very good player at Championship level. We've seen it. It's just not working for us at the moment this season. So I think we maybe, if you're looking at bringing in a big hitter in this league, we need to trade. We can't just bring in somebody like a Harry Suter type. That's the obvious easy one to go to. But we can't bring someone like that in to slot alongside Japhet Tanganga. That's ideal scenario for me. Yeah. But are we going to be able to afford that with no parachute payments? And can we have a luxury of having 2 of the highest paid centre-halves in the league at the back? Or has Harry Suter got to be our number 1 centre-back and Tanganga has to go to sacrifice that? There's a lot of things to think about, mate. a lot of
Give
things.
me a leader. Give me a leader, and then the rest of the team can play around that. That's what we need. We've got arguably one of the most talented teams we've had in years in this division and in this league this year. Yet we've got a lack of bottle and a lack of leadership. And I don't like saying that about Sheffield United.
Well,
a lack of bottle should never be said about a team that plays in red and white.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? It's embarrassing to say about our team. The one thing that we can all stick our chests out about, usually in times gone by, is, well, at least we gave it a go. I always go back to that Fulham game, and there's scores of examples. But the Fulham game, we lost 5-4, but they deservedly beat us.
Yeah,
and everybody, like 20 of the 22 were on their back at the end of the game because they'd given absolutely everything, and it were end to end. Don't mind it. Don't mind it, because fair play, the better side won on the day, and we gave absolutely everything. The team got applauded off, and that's what we want. That's all we want. Give everything you've got. Empty your tank for us, and we'll take that. We'll take that all day long. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, Lee, this time actually, because normally we've got a bit of a. Obviously, we talk about we talk about the upcoming opposition, which is Bristol City, which we will come to. But because we're talking about the Swansea game and how frustrated we are with the team currently, I'm going to go into the lineups for the Bristol City game straight away, because I think that's pertinent. So, predicted lineup for Chrissy Wilder. I may be wrong here. I think he goes the same again.
Did you hear his press conference?
Yeah, this is his best 11.
Yeah,
this is,
and nobody else is showing. He actually said that nobody else.
Is there anyone on that bench that I think deserves to be in the side in front of these? No, I don't.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't go with this lineup, it's a fitness issue rather than this is the lineup that he would want to pick. It's the lineup that we predicted. It's the lineup that we both said. It was the first time we all agreed on formations that was the best team to go for, because it's the best team available to us at the moment in terms of fitness and availability. I think he goes with this exact same team again, fitness permitting. So obviously some players did 90 minutes on Friday. Yesterday, we're going again on Monday night. I think chances are this will be the starting 11 on Monday night, or Monday afternoon, should I say? Would you agree, mate?
I think unless he's got pictures coming off the walls in the changing rooms and throwing things about, this is what he'll play.
Yeah,
I do. I think he'll stick with it, because he feels he's got nothing else. And when he brings the subs on, the drop off is amazing as well.
He looks dejected, doesn't
he? He looked really, really. I'm going to say upset, but I don't think that's the word for it. Yesterday.
No, it. But it's a family channel.
We watched Davo at the end of the game, and he's walked around and clapped the fans, and he's gone off, and he is fuming, Davo, yesterday.
Yeah,
because he's been strung out to dry again, hasn't he, at the back?
Well, I'm going to give you my team now, mate, and it's look. I've obviously got your team through as well after I've done mine, and yours also has a couple of interesting selections in it. I think mine does too. I'm sticking with the same formation because I think there's no chance that we alter it. I would like to think we would, but there's no chance in my opinion. But from those parameters, I've picked this team. And I have got half an eye now on next season. And I said that it sounds strange because I've got Bindon in the lineup instead of Tanganga.
Yeah.
I think Tanganga needs to know he is not an automatic selection. We need leadership in this side. Absolutely we do. But I'm putting Ben Mee back in the team alongside Tyler Bindon because I think Tanganga needs a rocket to say, not good enough, mate. Not good enough. I've gone with Luke Faxon in goal, and I know that's a controversial shout. And I've tried to support Dave, and I have supported Davo throughout. And if he selects Davis like I expect him to on Monday,
sorry, mate. Yeah, that on my phone. I knew it was coming as well.
That's all right. If he goes with Davo, I've no real qualms about it, and I expect him to go with Davo. I would just love to see what Luke Faxon can do. The season is officially over for us now. We are 17th in the league, which is an absolute disgrace. So how much worse can it get is probably my...
Where's Meldrew? Meldrew?
It can't get any worse, can it, Meldrew? It can. Other than that, I've gone with the same side. I would love to see Ben Mee come. I don't think he's going to be here next season, so I'm all right saying I've got half an eye on next season and then playing two centre-halves that I don't think will be here. But it's more a message to those that are here to say, look, you might have come in for 8 million quid or whatever it is. That don't earn you a spot in my side. And it weren't Wilder that signed him, so he don't have to justify anything to the board or anything like that. So I would love to see this this setup. I think this probably puts a bit of a rocket in the right places. Any thoughts on this, mate, before I move on to your team?
I don't mind it, Jim. I don't think Ben Mee will play. He's been nowhere near the team, has he, for weeks? But I don't mind it. I have got an issue in one position majorly.
Left back?
Left back. Massively.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. Go on, talk to me about Burrows. In fact, should we get your team up?
You can do if you want.
Okay, this is Lee's team. Talk us through it, pal.
I'm ripping it up. I'm just ripping it up. I'm ripping it up. I've had enough on it, Jim. I think you've got Tanganga in there, haven't you? And I think, didn't I take him out? I've got McGuinness.
No. Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've got Tanganga's out.
Oh, right. Sorry, mate. I had Tanganga in your team. No,
it's all right,
I've took Tanganga out too. So you've got McGuinness and Bindon. Sorry,
I've got McGuinness because he's our player for next year. I've got rid of Sariki. I've got Hoiver at right back.
Why have I put that? You're right. I haven't put that in either. You can tell I did it at 2 in the morning.
It's all right, mate. So I've got Davies in goal because yesterday he pulled off 2 or 3 great saves. He pulled a save off after we cleared the line as well. You know when Bindon cleared it?
Yeah, he did. That's true. That is true. He did do that.
He also pulls a save off against Vipotnik in first half where they're getting down Burrows' side again. They're getting down Burrows' side for the first goal. They're getting down Burrows' side for the second goal, for the third goal. And also, Nunes misses a chance where Burrows left him at the back stick and he hits it into the side netting. Now, this is not having a go at Burrows, but that's not good enough. That is not good enough for a Sheffield United left back. So my back four is Hoiver, Sariki, stop believing the hype, son. Get your game back in. McGuinness, Bindon, and Hjelde. Give Hjelde a go. It's solid. I'm happy with that. We can play as a 3 if we have to. And Hoiver can move on. I've gone for a midfield 3 to shore up the middle.
Lee, just talk to me about Hjelde a minute. You've brought McGuinness in because he's going to be here next season. Hjelde is clearly not. With no other options at left back, I assume it's correct. It's a bit similar to the Tanganga that I've gone for. It's a case of
performance.
A message to Burrows to say, sorry, pal, it's not working.
Not good enough. As good as he is going forward, he's as bad as that going back. It's not good enough as a left back in this league, Jim. You can't play like he's playing. The walking through him is easy to beat. He's out of position, and he's a cracking footballer. And from what we've heard, he's a lovely lad. It doesn't matter. It's your performance on the field that matters. So he's got to be dropped. And let's be honest, if Sam McCallum was still fit, it wouldn't be in this side either. The way McCallum was playing. So I've gone for a midfield 3, and I'm bringing Rothwell in. Can I just
say, I don't know what you mean. I've had this team up like you've said all the time.
Exactly, mate. It must be my eyes. I'll change my glasses.
It is your eyes. Yeah, it is.
So I've gone for a midfield 3 of Rothwell, Blaster, and Gyro because Peck was poor. Again, I can't have a go at some and leave others out.
I disagree with that.
I thought he was poor, mate.
I thought he was decent, Peck, yesterday. I thought he was decent. I thought he was looking forward. I thought he was passing between the lines. I think a couple of them didn't come off, but a couple of them really did. And to bring Joe Rothwell in for him, I think it's one of the biggest insults you could give to any player. And there is sending a message, and it's like your ex going with ugliest kid in class. It's what is going on there? Why is Joe Rothwell anywhere near this 11 from what you've seen?
Well, because Peck played so poorly yesterday, in my opinion. He's partly at fault for the first goal, diving in.
Yeah.
He's partly at fault for the second goal when the guy just goes straight in between him and Burrows as well. He was caught on the ball 2 or 3 times during the game. He looked lost for portions of the game where Gyro seemed to be looking around for help and there was nobody there.
I'm not against giving City a rest. I thought he played well in stages yesterday. I'm not going to go back on that. I would be up for bringing Arblaster in for him. But if you bring in, if in this formation, I would have gone Arblaster on the right, Gyro sitting, and I'd bring Samari in before I bring Joe Rothwell in. And I know Samari's not going to be here next season. Yeah,
but I'm playing 2 of them sitting, Rothwell and Gyro. They're sitting for me.
Okay, fair
enough. And Blaster's just play some. You know what I mean? Play.
Just get some minutes.
But that's it. That's all I'm doing. Basically, have a go because what we're doing at the moment is not working. We're on a downward trend. I mean, I'm up front, Aimer, because again, in moments yesterday, the bloke is just top class, and then he disappears. But he scores the first, He should have scored another. He sets up our second.
Yeah.
You know, he's a part to play in the third where he challenges the defender. The ball bounces back to Cannon, and Cannon scores. Great goal, by the way.
Yeah,
So Amos stays for me. O'Hare, again, such a good player. Ineffective yesterday. Really ineffective. Bamford was quiet. Did his best work tracking back, which you shouldn't be saying for a centre forward.
No, you shouldn't.
And Cannon, I'm just giving him a run because he obviously plays better in a 2 and giving him a go. I'm just ripping it up, Jim. It's just, why not? The time's now. Let's have a go.
I think that's fair, mate. I think that's fair. I mean, I've predicted this lineup, which I think he'll probably go with if available.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance we go 4-4-2 and O'Hare does have a rest and he brings Cannon in for what was a good cameo, I thought, yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, the things are Brooks as well, isn't it? I mean, he was very off it yesterday, and he looked
poor, weren't he?
And
understandably,
he
but
tired out, as well. It's a lot of travelling, and James Stribley brought it up actually last week about the travelling for him when we did kickoff for this game.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he'll prove right what James said, because he looked shattered from 15 minutes in, to be honest.
Yeah, he did. He was walking. He was.
Yeah.
He couldn't control the ball. It was like he was dead on his feet, weren't it?
Correct. And then we make the changes. We move O'Hare to the right, and for how good this kid can be in a 10, he has never been a wide player. He gets they're too quick for him, they're too powerful for him going past him. He needs to be a lad who gets the ball in space and creates. So just, if we're going to play 4-4-2, bring somebody in who can play on the right side. Whether you double bank Sariki and Hoiver, or whether you play Chong, who I've seen nothing from that makes me think he's a Sheffield United footballer. So 4-4-2, I don't know how we play it, Jim. We haven't got the players for it currently, have we?
No. And that's his frustration. And you can tell in his post-match that it feels like it, and we sort of knew this, and we sort of alluded to this a little bit, that he's been protecting the players in terms of they're giving everything, they're doing this, that, and other. But behind that, it's like that meme of the mask where it's a smiling face and then the anger behind. Yeah. And he's been protecting him to the point where he knows he hasn't got the tools to work with. And that's frustrating, because we know there's quality in this side, but we can't, for some reason or another, they can't gel. We talked about it last week. The connections are nowhere to be seen on the field, other than Sariki and Brooks. Oh, Brooks were off it yesterday. Sariki weren't firing on all cylinders, but there's no relationship between Burrows and Hamer. There's not much between Peck and Gyro, although they complement each other. The centre-back pairing is the one that we all talk about, but there's no real connection between Bamford and O'Hare yet. I don't know whether that will come. You'd hope so, because they'll hopefully both be here next year, but interesting, mate. So,
what I will say, Jim, can I just say as well?
Of course you can.
About Chris Wilder, people are having a go at him. What I will say, if we had Chris Wilder in this team from when he was playing at United, for all his failings as a player, he did well for us, but we were okay. We would be a better team for having him on that pitch, because he had bottle, he had desire, and he put it about. And he led, he was a leader, and he became a captain later on. We would be a better, for him, he would probably be the least talented player in that team.
Agreed.
But he would be the first player on the team sheet.
He was, and it's obvious to say because of who we're talking about, but when we talk about a Sheffield United player, that is exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about Chris Basham, we're talking about George Baldock, we're talking about Enda Stevens, Jack O'Connell, John Egan, Mark Duffy, who, got the absolute maximum out of his talent as well, I would say. These players that give Billy Sharp goes without saying, but give absolutely everything. Leave it. They don't have to be blades, but they have to buy into what the club is about. And I look at that team here. Is Femi Sariki dying for the shirt? I would say no. Tanganga, no. Bindon, yes, for a lone player. Is Burrows? I don't think Burrows is a lack of desire, but I certainly don't think he's putting his body online or anything like that at the moment. Gyro's just a good player. I wouldn't really say he's giving everything for us. City Peck's as close as we're going to get, I think, which is why I think Wilder plays him as long as he does, as often as he does, because I think he's one of the few ones that we see a true blades player in the traditional sense that we like to think. I think Callum O'Hare's a bit like that, because I think he flatters the deceive a lot of the time, Callum O'Hare, if I'm honest. I think he's always very busy, tries really hard, and that gives you a lot of credit with the Sheffield United fan base. his end product isn't always great. I think there were a couple of times yesterday where he could have put his laces through it, and he took an extra touch, and the chance went begging. Gus Emery is just a very talented player that does not give everything for Sheffield United. He just gives us moments where he can be his brilliant self. Brooks, the way he plays, it doesn't inspire me in terms of the way he carries himself. Bamford I like. I think he's a hard-working striker to lead the line, and he's sort of been adopted by the Blades already a little bit. So there's not many there where you can say they're giving absolutely everything and they're proper Blades players.
And as we said earlier, Jim, which one of those players holds the rest of them accountable? Because nobody does on that
None
field.
of them. None of them. There's no Morgan. There's no Michael Brown. There's no Billy Sharp. Even secondary captains who didn't wear the armband, George Baldock, Chris Basham, players like that, Ollie Norwood, would keep them all accountable. You could even say Jack Robinson to a degree as well. I don't rate him as a player, but certainly he was a leadership type. I didn't rate the way he did it or anything like that, but he was certainly a strong character that people would at least listen to on the field and be guided by, whether that were a right or a wrong decision. But we've nothing like that. We've no big personalities, and there's so much work to do on this squad, and I think there's going to be a significant amount of churn in the summer, which will keep us busy on the channel, and it'll hopefully give us something to look forward to next season. Okay, mate. So up next, the Robins. We go to Ashton Gate. They're coming off a really good result at Charlton, which is a tricky place to go. They've just won there. They've got Woy, and I've put in the thing here: will we continue to wobble against Woy? So this is what we're looking at, mate. This is they came into it in patchy form, but the former England manager, the managerial legend Roy Hodgson, has come in on the short-term basis. He said he's not interested in staying long-term. We'll see. It depends on how much, how well he does to end the season and how much WOD they offer him, because that always talks. Up until yesterday, I haven't seen it, mate. I don't know whether you have or not. It were a 4-2-3-1. Has Woy changed it?
He has.
4-4-2 by any chance?
He has changed it to, I've got it here, he has changed it to a 4-3-2-1.
Okay. 4-3-2-1, the old Christmas tree.
Yeah, he's gone with Twine and Sykes behind Emil Rees.
Don't mind that. Don't mind that at all.
And also,
we should be doing that. We should be doing that. 2 10s. We've been talking about it for ages.
Yeah. So he came in. They go in front to get edge back, and they win 2-1 away. Roy's now done over 1,000 games in his professional career.
Brilliant. He is a proper legend, isn't he?
Yeah, you've got to respect him for that. He's actually managed these 3 times in 3 spells. Twice.
I didn't know it was 3
before.
Oh, I didn't know it was 3. I knew he'd been there before.
Twice. Sorry, it is one. It is twice. Sorry, he managed 2 games. I got the year wrong. So yeah, he's managed them twice, and he's won 1, drawn 1, lost 1 in his 3 games for them over the 40 years between whatever it is that he was in. But these aren't in great form before Roy's come in, but the change of manager can always bounce. But they haven't won any of the last 5 home games. They are the worst ranked team at home in this league. And we are still the 9th best ranked away team, although
ridiculous.
We are away from it now. But you look at the last 5 all form, we're ranked 22nd in the league. And from what we're seeing on the pitch, I believe this. The stats are telling the truth at this time. But they're 20th. Last 10, they're 19. We're 15th. 13th in the league. We're 17th. And basically, they've drawn 3 more games than us. That's the difference in it. There's nothing between the sides, which is horrific to say when you look at their team and our team. It's terrible to say that.
It is.
It really is.
It is. But you look at the trajectory, which is a word I use often, and I need to get a different word, of both sides at the moment. And I don't mean long term. I mean towards the end of the season. It's certainly, we know from a Sheffield United perspective, we are coasting and trending downwards a little bit. And that's what we're trying to arrest and trying to stop. And we want to see the season out strongly, but trying to get a tune out of a team that knows they're probably not going to be together next season is really tough. And
some players will be looking after themselves, Jim, now.
Of course they will. They want to move.
They're really looking after themselves. So if they show the mentality that they showed in the last 30 minutes yesterday, our team, and they don't get hold of Scott Twine in that midfield, we will get ripped to pieces, because this kid can play football.
we could be 3-0 up, and with a chance of chucking it away if we drop off on 60 like we have been doing. It's it's ridiculous. And there's another point I want to talk to you about in a minute, but we'll come to it if we get a chance. So yeah, we're just talking about the trajectories. They have obviously just had a win under Roy, and it's going to be his first home game in charge for 40 years or whatever it is. I think the cards aren't dealt in our favour, shall we say? Let's just have a look.
And a good win, Jim, away at a tricky Charlton, fighting for their lives a little bit.
Really tough. Charlton, we know. We've been done by Charlton twice. I mean, we were great against Charlton until the 2 sendings off. But when Chris Wilder first came back in, they came and did a job on us.
Yeah.
And he's not daft. He knows what to do at the level. As an underdog, does Nathan Jones.
Yeah.
Horrible team to face. And to go there and win is a really strong result and a big statement. So, yeah, you see Twine there starting. Reese, you're saying that Twine and Sykes were in behind Emil Reese.
Yeah. With Knight, Randall and Bird. And then Knight and Bird are 2 players I actually quite like. And I've said for a few years about Max Bird when he was at Derby as a young kid. I really liked him. He's not gone on to push as high as I thought he would do, but he's still a very good player. And then McCrory's got injured, the right back who was playing yesterday, took him off.
Okay.
So he's missing. Ely, he scored the winner. Neto Borges, I think it is, and Pring at left back. And the keeper's from Man United. Is on loan from Man U Vitek. They're under 23 keeper. Yeah,
decent. And you can see just on bench as well that a lot of people talking about Sam Morsey coming in, and he'd been playing for them. He's out of the side already because Roy's come in and wants to go with the existing players that are probably going to see him into next season.
They've got some injuries as well. McCrory, Atkinson, Dickey, Tanner.
Atkinson's
McNally.
Been really good for him this year.
Yeah.
George Earthy on the bench. I think it's George, but he's on loan from West Ham. Yeah, good young player. So no mugs. Nobody really is, unless you wear blue and white stripes. Nobody's really mugs at this level. But it's I've got an interesting taxi tale about that last night, actually. But that's for another show. So yeah, decent. And obviously we know the lineup where how Sheffield United appeared yesterday. The one thing I'll say about this, Lee, is looking at that bench, there's no game changers on our bench. No. And we knew
Blaster maybe last year.
Blaster gets a pass for me.
Yeah, definitely this year. This year he does.
Yeah, and
I'm looking forward to seeing him next year, because if he's back to where he were, that's one hell of a player back in this team.
100%, mate. So, all things considered, everything we've talked about, give us your score prediction, mate.
I think we'll get in front and we will capitulate and lose 2-1. And this is a knee-jerk, definitely a knee-jerk, because I said to you last night.
Angry from yesterday.
This is a knee-jerk because they have done a job on me, Sheffield United, yesterday, to be fair, in that last 30 minutes.
You, me, and probably 50-odd thousand other blades out there, because it's one of them, innit? I've gone 2-2 because I still hold out a little bit. I'm a little bit naive to hold out a bit of faith that we're not completely useless, and I think we're good enough. We're going forward. We create enough. Oh, yeah. We've got enough talent at the top of the pitch. I think we're resting on our laurels way too much on that, rather than having a structure to our play. But I still think we're very weak defensively, and certainly we haven't got the bottle or the mindset to hold a lead if we were to get in front. So I think we can potentially nick something. Whether we will or not remains to be seen, I'm afraid, unfortunately.
I'd love to be proved wrong, by the way. So if you want to stick this up in dressing room, Chris, please do.
Absolutely. And if for those of you that can't make the game, myself and Jordan Motson will be here for a watch along live from 2:30. Not on Saturday like it says there, because I did this at 2:00 in the morning. We'll be there on Monday at 2:30. Is it a 3:00 kickoff?
It's a 3:00, yes.
So we'll be there from 2:30 on the Easter Monday. Feel free to come and join us there. But let's jump into some comments, mate, and see what everybody's saying before we get off. Alex says, afternoon both, just about calmed down a tad since yesterday. I'm glad you have. I have too. I'm not sure Lee's quite there yet. A few beers later will help. Is it time to mix the squad up for the last 6 games and see how it goes? Yes. We think so, yeah. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Love all the Ramble shows. Thank you, mate. We love your support. Thank you for coming with us. Joe says, expect nothing to play for mediocrity. Oh, such a shame that we're there in it. That's Blades fumble. Oh, we're not sure about this handle at all. Car's sorted. Can't wait to replace that stress with the lane again on Saturday. We've got to go to Ashton Gate first on Monday, pal. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, glad the car's sorted out. Need a sparkle in that bald Lee graphic. I'll see what I can do. Bean says, I'm also worried about who he's going to sign in. I'm also worried. Is that the... I also worry?
I also worry, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just wondering if that's his first comment. Yeah, it is. Looked like it were following on from something, but I worry about who he's going to sign in the summer. If we sign journeyman, we'll be mid-table again. We've got no one who can run. Some players will see us as an easy payday. I completely agree with that. In terms of, I think we have to proceed with caution on the signings. Look, there is nobody I would want in charge more. I'm going to say that as my opening statement and caveat. But and I'm pointing towards the signings of Gyro Riedeveld and Patrick Bamford, who are big ticket players, who are on big money. They have been game changers for Sheffield United. Yeah. I dread to think where we would be without Chris Wilder, Pat Bamford, and Gyro Riedeveld this season. However, Joe Rothwell, I'm not so struck on. Keanu Hoover hasn't worked for whatever reason. I think those are two players signed on past reputations and not enough recency in terms of what our due diligence. And Calvin Phillips, I think he's an anomaly really, because I was so excited when we signed him. If he'd have stayed fit, there's every chance he could have been one of the best players in this league. So I understand why we did it. It hasn't worked, and that'll be used against Wilder. But I'm on board with it as a signing, and it's just not happened for us. It's just been bad luck more than anything else. So mixed bag.
Yeah, I don't think you can hold Calvin Phillips against him at all. Because
Kev Phillips, he's another one I'd like.
We could do him up front. Yeah, I'll take that journeyman, 50-year-old.
Yeah, I wouldn't all now. 50-year-old Kev Phillips.
So Calvin Phillips, you can't hold that against him because it's a bad challenge and then some bad luck. You know, it's just one of them things. Rothwell, like you said, is a worry, but he's in my team just to shake it up this week. Gyro and Bamford have been worth every penny.
Yeah, they are.
And if we can get another couple of those in the team, we won't go far wrong.
No, we won't. No, we won't. The one thing I will say is, in terms of anybody's concerns about next season, the 8 playoff places helps us now. Unfortunately, that we have to resign ourselves to that, but that is the case.
Not from 17th, Jim. Not from 17th.
No, not this season. It don't. Lou says, "Afternoon, gents. This one is almost impossible to call. Roy won in his first game in charge, which would suggest this isn't set up well for us. Don't rule out Bristol City tripping themselves over, though. They're masters at it. We think we're our own worst enemy. Meet the team from South Bristol. Could be anything on Monday. Think we pick a similar team. Can we do anything else? Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe." Well, we've given you a couple of alternatives, Lou. We don't think it's going to happen, to be honest, but it's more what we would like to see. And for those watching that aren't familiar, Lou is based in Bristol, so that is how he has got such a good knowledge base of what they can bring and what they may do on Monday, because a lot of his pals are Bristol City fans, so he knows a lot about them. So let's hope you're right, Lou, and they do trip themselves up, because it'd be nice to get an unexpected performance from the Blades and also a result to match. But
it'd be nice to see a trip up and it not be us.
Yeah, sure. Can you imagine? Bean says, why are we bringing Davis on when he's definitely not going to be here next year? He said he knows who's going to be here. Whoever isn't here, leave them out of the squads. There's no point. Well, in that, if you go into lecture at law with that, Bean, you won't be playing Tyler Binden. You won't be bringing on Gus. You won't be playing Gus Amer probably. You won't be playing. These are the sort of Femi Siriki, Andre Brooks, Sidney Peck. Do you include them all? Yes, technically they're going to be here next season because they're contracted. But if we're harshly planning for next year, with or without, I think the Tom Davis one is interesting, and I understand your point with Davo. Bringing him on for Gus Hamer and then sticking him out on the left wing, I will back Wilders to the hill as best I can, but make it easier for me, Chris, with stuff like that, because Tom Davis, our injury-prone centre midfielder who is a grafter in the middle, who likes to get his foot in and put his foot on the ball, have a little look and knock about it, but he's certainly no winger. Why are we trying to open up his hamstrings on left wing? Which is, it was so perplexing. The only thing I can think is it's a message to the board to say I don't trust who I've got, or a message to the bench. He's got Chong sat there, who not a lot of us rate, but he's a left or right winger. So if you want to... Say again?
Ogbenny.
the other change was that a lot of people called for in 90 after 90 was Hjelde on, Burrows further forward.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Bringing on? I know you might rate Tom Davies as a player higher than you rate Hjelde or Ogbeni or Chong. Understandable. So do I. But he's not on the left wing. I won't have, a right back go up front or anything like that. It's crazy. It's crazy to think. I couldn't understand it, and I'm always trying to defend him. As that one just threw me completely because there were so many alternatives you could have done. So
it's back to the old square pegs in round holes that we were doing the other year.
Yeah, it is, and it goes back to the point that we've been making for the last God knows how long.
Yeah,
we haven't got the players to suit this formation. No. So it's all right wanting to go with the formation. Another thing that sort of irked me a little bit in his post-match was, I'm not a manager that's just going to sit on 3-1. Why? Why wouldn't you? That's the smart thing to do. That's like saying, well, we're not going to go play in corner at 90 minutes. We're not,
Yeah.
Why? That's part of the game. It's game management.
He even mentioned that, we could have gone to 3 at the back and seen the game out.
Yeah.
Do it.
But I don't want to do that. It's negative. I don't want to go backwards and sideways. The fans don't get me wrong. And if you can show me that we can go to 4-1, 5-1, then I'll applaud your decision. But you've got to own it then when you've tried to go 4-1, 5-1 and it ends up 3-2, 3-3. There are, everyone knows how much I love him, but I'm not blinkered. I can see, and he'll see as well. He'll look back, and if he's got people close to him that are honest with him, which I think he will have, and he'll value, they'll be saying the same thing. Well, we messed up there, mate. We messed up. We should have.
Gaz was sat with me, Gaz Dunn, Man in Black, that people will know from the channel.
Yeah.
And when we went 3-1 up, we actually said to each other, we could do another one here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we were worried.
Worried at 3-1 up at home.
I know.
60, 65 minutes.
Yep.
And they weren't world beaters either. They were decent. They were okay. It's not an anti-Swansea thing, but it's been the story of our season that it's been such an average league. And if we'd have been above average, we'd likely be in a promotion mix, and we've been poor in an average league when there was a real chance of us. My dad's saying to me, this was the year to go up. This was the year to go up, and we have completely blown it, essentially. David Webster, his train's never late. Well, we could do what obviously needs to be done, sack clueless Chris. Or does he get yet another free pass? Well, I think, let us know whether you think we're being fair, David. We were told this would never happen under Wilder, were we not? Give me a leader, you say. I agree. Wilder isn't one. I disagree completely. I think he's the only only one showing leadership at the club at the minute, and where we need it most is on the field. And he's responsible for that, David. I'm not sort of excusing that, but we'll see what he can do when he's got a full summer to bring in his version of a Sheffield United player.
It'd be nice for David to get back in touch if he could, October time, and see how we're doing then.
Yeah, absolutely.
His own team in, and then let's see what he thinks then. When we can actually then judge Chris Wilder on his players and his team.
David Webster, and I applaud him for coming on and giving his thing. He has always been on this thought process. He doesn't rate Chris Wilder, and that's absolutely fine. That's what we're about. Yeah. The only criticism I would have, David, is when we're doing well, you know where to be seen. But when we're struggling, you're straight in. So as Lee says, if we can say, either even come end of season, we can have an honest chat about it, or certainly start at new season. If we start well, I'm not saying you have to praise Wilder because you'll still not rate him, but I'd like to see where the praise lies and where the blame lies. Because I think a lot of the criticism from yourself is that you always blame the players, you never blame the manager, which I don't think is true. But it's the flip side, isn't it? When we're doing well, it's all the players and never Wilder. So 50-50, I think, is fair. But thank you for your comments, mate. It's not a dig at all. There's no way Gyro could have been flagging yesterday for him to be took off. It was played like a friendly. Rothwell looks like he's on Masters football, and that's being kind.
That's
Gyro, yeah, it is. It's a great comment. Bring back the Masters and get Joe Rothwell involved. But very quickly, Lee, because I know we're over what we normally like to be at, but and it's something I'm going to talk on 3MB about tomorrow. Gyro Riedeveld, big talking point for me is he's not quite Tom Davies territory where he's never available, but if you're only available for 60 minutes, how big of a problem is this?
is he only available for 60 minutes, or is this Chris being overprotective of him because he wants to play every game? For me, I'd rather him play a full 90 yesterday and play 15 maybe off the bench on Monday.
Me too.
Give us what you've got while you're there. Instead of...
And let us bank 3 points and then and see if we can get out without you.
I would put my name to the fact that if he stayed on the pitch yesterday, we see that game out.
I think if we've dropped 30 points, I would be amazed if he hasn't come off for 20 of those points.
Yeah.
And we might have got an extra 10 if he's on the field. We look so much weaker. Not that he's look, we're not saying he's Zidane, but the balance in the team is so much better. My dad's saying to me...
Structure, Jim, structure. He holds the structure together.
Exactly right. And my dad's saying yesterday, it's amazing, really, the drop-off when Gyro... And we're talking about it during game. And he's saying, Gyro's gone off now, and we are all over the place. And he says, but it's weird because you don't always notice him. And I said, that's because he's half a step in front in his head. Yeah. So he drops into the right positions. He covers off, so other players have to go elsewhere on the field. There isn't the space. It's like the old Teddy Sheringham used to do it. And people will be like, what has he got? What's his attribute? Well, he's in the right place at the right time, and that is not luck. Billy Sharp used to do it. And still does, I'm sure, for Donny. It's not. That's how they can go on so long. Teddy Sheringham played till they were over 40. David McGoldrick's doing it now.
Yeah.
Billy Sharp's doing it still. These players that don't rely on one single attribute like pace because they are so clever. Gyro Riedeveld, I'm sure, injuries permitting, will play till his late 30s easily.
Yeah.
And if he calls it a day, it'll be when he wants to, because there'll always be a place for him, a player like him in any squad. So I just think he's a really clever player.
He doesn't even look tired when he goes off.
No.
He just looks the same as when he comes on at the beginning of a game, because he's just a steady, way he plays. He's languid, and he doesn't look
languid. Good
tired
word.
out. Thank you. He doesn't look tired out. Yet we're bringing him off for some reason. And if it's the sports scientists saying he's hitting his numbers, get rid of the sports scientists because they're not doing the job properly. Then
I think
if they can only play 60 minutes,
I think there's a question to be had there. To be honest, I don't want to be harsh. Bean says, why people talking about Suter when he's not played for over a year? It will be a disaster sign. It were a reference point, Bean, to be fair. It was. Yeah. I understand what you're saying, and I think that's a very good reason not to sign Harry Suter. It's just because everybody's familiar with that sort of player and signing. Have we not learned anything?
Didn't you? It was a placeholder, weren't it?
Yeah, it was a placeholder, yeah. And again, that sort of negates your point, but I hope you understand where I'm going. Spot on Lee, give us a leader, says James. Kev says, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Good morning, Kev. Thank you for joining us, my mate. Bean says, I also can't believe we're going to have Hamer for 3 years and never play him at number 10. I think we could have got even more out of him. I think he has played there, but not consistently. Not consistently. And that is the Callum O'Hare conundrum for me. Would you play Hamer in the 10 and O'Hare on the left, where O'Hare's not as effective? I wouldn't, personally, but is it worth a go? Maybe.
I think they moved him to the left though to fill an hole, but it's given him a bit more space to play, Hamer. Whereas in the 10, they'd just sit somebody on him, wouldn't they? In the 10,
yeah, they would. And
comes in.
He's not mobile enough to get away from people as well if he's being sat on. Whereas he can drop. There's a lot more space to drop into out on the left.
Correct.
It has suited him as much as he's certainly not a traditional left-sided player, and I'm not going to change my thought process on we might work better as a team with a more balanced player on the left, but it does suit his game to have that space because he's not mobile enough to.
He's like an outside 10.
Yeah, he is.
Say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's a wide forward, if you like, that sort of strange role. David says Jim's looking a bit something about Mary with the hair gel today. There's no hair gel in it, I'll tell you that for now. But thank you very much. For
natural.
Yeah. Oh, hair gel. Anyway, for those, it's a family channel, but for those that have seen the film will know what he's talking about. Lee, 3 weeks to go till draft day, says Tex.
Yeah.
Right,
it's NFL.
Yeah, I thought it might be. The Blunt Yorkshireman says, genuinely not bothered if any of this lot have moved on, bar O'Hare, Bamford, Gyro and Hamer. Poor partnerships on the left, right, centre midfield and centre back. No wonder we've failed. I think you'll be disappointed with Hamer, Blunt Yorkshireman. I'm fully expecting him to leave. Dave Webster says, how can you be so scathing about Rothwell without looking at the bloke who signed him? Another free pass. It's embarrassing. I have criticised Chris Wilder for bringing that signing in, to be honest. Now we're exposing his organisation, but as usual, no blame for him. Your Wilder fixation is not shared by increasing number of fans. David, I was nice to you earlier. I'm going to stop being as nice to you if you keep going on at me like this. Ridiculous. I'm trying to be as open with you as I can. James says, one of the problems in key areas is we don't have the quality to make changes to rotate or the system. We're too casual as players don't have any competition. That's true. Who's breathing down? You would say Hjelder's breathing down Harrison Burrows' neck, but not from what Wilder was saying the other day. There's nobody pushing Harrison Burrows, he was saying, which why sign Leo Hjelder, who's looked decent every time he's come on?
He has. Yeah.
Blunt Yorkshireman says Wilder needs to gamble and leave Gyro on for 90 minutes against Bristol City. This post-Gyro 60 minutes collapse has got to be nipped in the bud to secure at least 3 points during the next 2 to 3 games. Completely agree.
100%, James. 100%,
telepathy. And that was said before you said it as well, mate. P.S. Bit harsh on Hamer, Jimmy. Gives us the most assists out of the squad. The one thing, I'm not going to budge on Hamer, I'm afraid, mate. What I will say is he has got undoubted talent, undoubted quality, and his numbers are there for all to see. And if anybody heard me that hasn't watched him, which I appreciate you all have that's watching this, but if this were picked up elsewhere, and why is it he don't know what he's on about saying Hamer's needs to be moved on and stuff like this. He does nothing for 85% of the game, 90% of the game. And it really frustrates me that if you saw a highlight reel of Gus Hamer, you were a scout and you had a budget, you would potentially be bidding 20-25 million for him. The rest of it, like if I'm watching him yesterday, chase balls down and stuff like that, and I'm thinking if he's a stone lighter, he is, and that sounds really critical, but he's not playing for Sheffield United. He's getting about the pitch a lot more. He's a lot more nimble. He can dance around, play because his ability is unquestionable. I don't know what his discipline is like off the field. I don't know what his lifestyle is like. I can only surmise, but no doubt in his quality. I'm not sure. If you're scouting for a player for that role and you look at his highlight reel and his statistics and his analysis, it's off the charts. But I'll also say so are Harrison Burrows. His highlights and his stats and his analysis going forward are off the charts. And the only other thing I can say is because I was a scout for 4 years, and that makes me no better than anybody else. It just means I got a chance that other people who are knowledgeable didn't. But so was my dad for 20 years, and he were in Premier League, and you can't beat the eye test either.
Oh, without a doubt.
So there is a lot of merit to that. So, and that don't mean my eye test is better than anybody else's, because it isn't. Mine's just another opinion. But I firmly believe that data has to be levelled up by the eye test. Because like you say, Lee, you watch Harrison Burrows is a better example than Gus. Gus is hard to argue against because of his numbers. But Harrison Burrows' numbers will be great. And some of his chances created and stuff like that. But a lot of Blades will watch this. Like you've taken him out of your team because of his defensive frailties. Yeah. And how do you quantify that? Well, you can because you've watched him all season. So you know where his weaknesses are. So, fair points. Paul says, how can a set of pro players not last 100 minutes on a football pitch? Agreed. No real press, just no real passion for the shirt, just fed up with his team as they are at the minute, to be honest. Paul, right there with you, my mate. Matt says, a bit late to the stream, but how do you expect the players to take accountability when all the manager does is point the finger elsewhere? There has been a little bit of self-preservation, I think, from Wilder at the minute, but Chris Wilder never tells you anything that he don't want out in the ether. I think he's clever enough to do that, but sometimes post-match, I wonder if he's just letting out frustration, and I think sometimes he's better at guarding it than others. I think he's had enough with a lot of this team. That's the way it appeared to me.
I agree, and I do think though in the after-match interview, the post-game interview, he did say that this reflects on me as well.
Yeah,
he did say that before he started having a go at the players. He said, "I don't like it, but this is my team, isn't it? That he's got at the moment." So he did take ownership of it, but then he did what I think he should have done, and he called the players out. I've got no issues with that.
No, I haven't. I would like to see a little bit more accountability.
Yeah.
But it's from himself. But that's the way he's choosing to handle it, and we'll all have our own opinion on that. David Webster again says, "I'm getting weary of this Sheffield United culture nonsense. Quality wins football matches, not running around a lot and trying hard. That's a given at successful clubs." Could not disagree more with the sentiment of this statement. Obviously, quality is what you need from players. But give me George Baldock over any more talented right back that doesn't give half of his effort. Gary Neville is probably the best example of this. Yeah. He will be the first to tell you he is not the most talented footballer, but he's one of the most hard-working footballers that there is, and his career was built on his work rate. Chris Basham is another brilliant example. He is not a quality footballer, and he'll probably be the first to tell you that he got better, and he was certainly good for the level that he played at, and he got better as the levels went up, and I think he sort of receded to the levels that he dropped to and things like that. But his determination and his mindset outweighed his quality and kept him at the level. I think mentality is more than is half of what you have to bring. That's not a definite quantity like leveler, but I think you cannot underestimate what a player's mentality is all about. Really, I think what we're seeing in games is a weak mentality, and it's something the 18-19 team and teams since then and before, certainly a lot before then, have had much stronger over the years. I just think this team is weak as some people would say, and it's really disappointing.
For every Gus, you need a Nick Montgomery in a team.
Absolutely right, mate.
And what's the old saying? Right. If work rate beats ability, if ability doesn't work, and it's
thank you. True. That's a much more succinct way of saying what I was trying to say there. Absolutely right, mate. That's absolutely right. That's the reason you're on these shows. Hello, Jimmy. I think Chris should consider playing 3 centre halves on Monday. Tanganga and Bindon are not great as a pair. I play Hjelde as he possesses a long throw as well up the Ramble. Phil, I'm right there with you, mate, but I've given up on that, unfortunately. Yeah. You're right, in my opinion. I would love to see 3 at the back with this current squad. The manager is convinced on a 4-2-3-1 at the moment. I assume that's the way he sees us progressing as a club, because otherwise he'd be changing it around a little bit. I don't think a lot of this squad will be here next season, if I'm honest. So there is a chance to rip it up and start again, but I don't think it's going to happen.
If he did go to a 3 at the back, Burrows stays in my team. That's how.
Yeah, and me.
I would rate him there.
And Tanganga stays in my team on the right-hand side as well.
On the right-hand side, yeah.
Yeah. So Chariot says, David Webster in the house. You tell him, David. CW as a free bed and board in Webster's head, says Joe. Blades Lad says, been saying all season we're not good enough. Going to be the same next year. Sorry to say. I disagree with that, Blades Lad. We'll wait and see, though. Stick says, no other club operates or is run like ours, in danger of being a consistent, mediocre bottom half side. It's a huge, huge summer for us. I think the board will back us. It's just what limitations will we have with the new squad cost ratio and things like that. So I expect a lot of movement in the squad, out and in, to be honest. These are Wilder's players, though, says Barry. All the summer signings he had no involvement in. So Tanganga, Bindon, who else came in the summer? McGuinness, Chong, Matos, Ogbeni,
all these, and then the
Samari.
Yeah,
none of them are Wilder players.
Who's he brought in? Hjelde, Hoover.
He's brought in Hjelde, Hoover, Rothwell, Phillips, Gyro, Bamford. They're his players, and obviously the nucleus of what he left the previous summer. Yeah. But the influx of summer signings that have bombed were not his players. So we could go back and forth on individual.
Did he bring Gamer in?
No, I don't think he did. I think he were a Hecky signing.
Yeah.
I'll be back in touch, all right, don't worry, says Dave. Good. I hope so, mate. Yeah, I hope so. And I don't fear that, if that's a don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Hey, everybody's voice is different, aren't they? And everybody's opinion is different. And it's valid for Dave. It's not what I think, but hey, fair play.
It's what we're about, mate, isn't it? It's what we're about, because a lot of people would shoot him down, I think, straight away. And people in comments might, but I'd encourage them not to, because it's just, unless it's a gaslighting thing, which it can be at times, I believe, from Mr. Webster. 17 with all of them great players at 17th, and that's that great manager. Wrexham says clap clap. Fair enough. When you have fired shots like I have this season at Wrexham, and they sit in 6th, and we are 17th. More power to you, Chris. You deserve to have a pot back at me for that, and I have to take it on chin because.
And at this point in time, they're going in one direction, and unfortunately, we're not going with them.
Absolutely right, and I think you look at players like Josh Windass. We could do with Josh Windass, and we're now looking at Wrexham fancifully in terms of, well, if they improve again next year, which I fully expect them to do, whatever division they're in, then we might be taking scraps off Wrexham. Like they took Kiefer Moore off us, and we thought we got a great deal. Well, we might be looking at somebody like a Josh Windass and saying, "Please, sir, do you want to join Sheffield United?" It's crazy, isn't it?
And being a Blades fan, he probably will.
Yeah, he's a big blade. Big blade is Josh. Morning, Josh. Hope you well, pal. Or afternoon, even. Afternoon. We've been going an hour, pal. Right, let's wrap this up. Blades fumble. So you've got to get to James. Not Wilder's biggest fan, but he deserves next season, says Blades fumble. And if we don't progress, then we part ways end of the season or even before. It's awful. His contract is up after next season, so less to pay up. I think if it's not going our way, then it'll be before end of next season.
Yeah, well.
But they'll I would like to think they will certainly give him a good chunk of time, and I fully expect us to come out of blocks next year. I will be surprised if we don't, and disappointed.
We won't resemble this. We will not resemble this team.
It's something he's repeatedly said, and whenever he's said that previously, he's been right. So I'd at least give him that. Wilder did have a go at Sariki during the game yesterday when the ball went out of play. It wasn't good, and Hamer wasn't Wilder signing. Yes, we know that, pal. But yeah, it's Sariki. I wonder if Sariki's going to be here next season. I think there's a chance.
Don't believe
he's
the
not.
hype. Don't believe the hype.
Well, if you are a buying club, believe the hype. So that's
I think he's a good player. I'm just thinking he maybe thinks he's better than he is at the moment. And I
think that is echoing what Chris Wilder might be saying to him at times. Yeah. I might be wrong. That's speculative, but you're not the only one to say that to me. And I think, to be honest, he has a huge upside. He's all the tools you want for a prospect. And you say a prospect, he's 23. So if he's going to move, he's going to improve, it's got to be a fast uptick now. But anyway,
his skill set's made for the Premier League for what he's got. Yeah,
it is. He's how different is he to a Jed Spence? Really, that sort of player. Really, who isn't defensively focused particularly. But I'm not saying he's as good a player, but there's a lot of similarities to those sort of players. So. Anyway, mate. Anything you would like to say before I let you go after keeping you for over an hour when you're in a rush this afternoon?
I don't mind staying for an hour, mate. You're worth it.
Thanks,
honestly.
Mate. Thank you.
Anything else to say? Just don't do it to us again, please, Blades. Don't do that to us. It's to see our club lack the bite and desire to see a game out hurts more than losing to Middlesbrough in a great game of football.
Yeah, it does.
The draw hurts more than a defeat, and that should not be what Sheffield United are about.
Well said, mate. Well said. We are back again on Blades Ramble live tomorrow. We've got Combo coming out tonight. Myself and Cal Fowler looking forward to this Bristol City game. We've also got 3 Mardy Blades live from 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and then we're back with the watch along myself and Jordan Motson for Bristol City versus Sheffield United at 2:30 on Easter Monday. So keep the faith, Blades. It's never a straight line, never forced to be. It was never promised to me that it would be, to be fair, from Andy the Blade. Win, lose or draw, we'll still come back for more. So for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
Up the Blades!
Oh!